Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by Good Marketing and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
There are several of what I would call kind of behind-the-scenes industries when it comes to revitalizing Michigan. One is environmental consulting. One Lansing-area owned and operated firm has been growing and receiving national recognition. And here to share their services and story is the Chief Culture Officer for Tri-Terra, JP Buckingham. Welcome to the show, JP.
Good to be here.
Glad to have you. So for those non-scientists, what exactly does a firm like yours do, and how does Tri-Terra help Michigan become more vibrant?
That's a great start. So a lot of people come to us so that we can evaluate risk. And typically it's environmental risk. They're looking to buy some property or they want to redevelop. So main goal is we evaluate environmental risk for those folks that are looking to buy, sell, redevelop property. Commercial, industrial, even residential, not as much. So our job is to give them a good deep dive and historical understanding of what took place on that property so they can understand if there are any liability that what they're getting into. If there's an old gas station back in the 50s that nobody knows about.
Right. Okay.
We're gonna find out for you. So we kind of look at it like we're going to find all the skeletons in the closet, put it on a report, have a conversation with the buyer, the developer, and get a better understanding of what they're getting into. And that environmental due diligence is a gateway into Tri-Terra and a lot of the other services that we do. Whether, hey, we're walking through buildings and we see asbestos. They need to be aware. Hey, you might want to get that removed, and we can help you deal with that. When there be a mold issue in the basement, moisture getting in. There could be a vacant land, but there could be wetlands. You don't think about these things. So we're thinking a lot of different things that most people probably aren't even considering when they're looking to buy property. So that's usually a gateway into a lot of the work we're doing is the due diligence side. Then we find issues. I give a lot of bad news to people. Nobody likes to talk to me. And then our wonderful Dave Van Haren with his cape and the Brownfield team come in and have, hey, what kind of incentive do you need to help get you over that, to help you deal with environmental issues we identify?
Got it. Okay.
Up front. So that's kind of a big picture view.
So a developer will kind of either find an old empty building that's for sale or a piece of vacant land that's for sale, and they want to build something shiny and new and cool.
Yep.
But I guess once they own the land, what goes with the land is their responsibility. So they want to, you mentioned the word due diligence. So this is all kind of between, I have an idea, but I'm not paying you until I know what all goes into my ownership of this parcel.
Exactly. And understanding the unknowns. You start digging, moving earth around.
Yeah, right.
Hey, there was a former house back, these urban areas have so much history. So there could have been 5 houses before that commercial building or something. And then back in the day, they used to demo the house and fill the basement in with whatever, crap, fill. And that fill can create an issue when you go to do construction. You're putting your footings through this, and all of a sudden you realize this soil is not suitable to construct on. We need to put engineered fill in or redesign our foundation. Our job is to identify all those things and have that conversation with the new buyer, the developer, the construction team, you name it. We try to think big picture on every little project we come in. We try to think, all right, keeping the end in mind, what's the plan for this project? You want to buy it? Oh, you're going to redevelop and kick the back part and add to this. Well, back in the 40s, that's where the old heating oil tank was. You might have to spend a little more money when you're putting your budget together to deal with contaminated soils, and possibly bring in engineered fill for the footings.
Right.
So we try to think bigger. We're not just thinking, here's your phase 1 report. Thanks for hiring us. Talk to you later. It's a little more than that. So we really try to, I always say, keep our telescope out. We have a microscope doing the work, and then we step back and think big picture, what's going on.
Got it. Okay.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
That's consulting.
Yep.
That's consulting.
So let me ask, do sellers use your services to kind of get the property a little bit more known? Because that's got to drive maybe their pricing or even the speed to build. What I know of economic development is if I buy this, how quickly can I go vertical and make this place, cash flow for my investment project? So it seems like a seller might decide to get some of that unknown known. So they can provide reports to a buyer, right?
Occasionally we'll get calls from sellers, hey, we're getting ready to sell this and we want to market it, but we also want to know because we bought it back in '92, and that was before environmental due diligence, right?
That was only a couple of years ago.
Right, yeah,
Guys
yeah,
our age,
92. Yeah, that was. It's funny to say that.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at the property and provide them with typically it's a phase 1 environmental assessment that lays out the history, the users. We try to go back. Some areas we can go back to late 1800s. So if you like history,
Wow.
It's a really cool document with a lot of historical information. Some sites are pretty boring. There might not be, but when you're in urban areas, it's really cool to see, whoa, that was cool. Or it's fun that we find old names of businesses.
Okay.
Back in 1930, this was known as Chris Buck Saloon.
Right,
and
right.
it's like, well, I'm buying it. We're going to recreate a new Chris Buck Saloon and put it on the first floor and kind of
we'll
create
name it that, or right.
So
How
that's
cool
fun.
is that?
But the sellers use that to help market their
Got
property.
it. So you say you do the consultation and you discover what the history was and any potential bad news or things that
Yeah.
need to be addressed. But that's not where Tri-Terra services end, right? You actually can perform that remediation. You can remove the asbestos, or is that part of your services, or
a lot of ours is assessment consulting.
Okay.
So we identify, evaluate, determine quantity of how much building material, how much asbestos is in that building.
Yep.
And then we work with contractors around the area that can come in and we'll help get bids. We'll put bid specs together for the owner, and then we can they come in and do the actual demo or abatement of the work. So we don't do that ourselves. It would be kind of a conflict of interest if we were doing everything. So we do upfront work, assess, and then we bring in partners to help our client have a successful project.
But as a scientist, you can hold these people accountable and test it after the fact and kind of confirm that it's clean.
Scientists can be tough. We can be tough.
Yeah,
so,
right.
yeah.
So I mentioned you're Lansing based, but what is your footprint? How far do your services extend?
Yeah, so we have an office in Alma, Grand Rapids. We just opened one in Brighton. But that's just spots. We work all over the state of Michigan. UP, Mariah is up in Marquette, living in Marquette, so she's growing her practice up there. Melissa is over in Kalamazoo. So they're working out of their house, so it's kind of a different after COVID kind of mindset of how we normally. I would say, well, we don't have an office in Kalamazoo. We can't hire this person. And since COVID and your mindset's different, well, it works. We can make it work.
Right.
But we go all over the state. We get in Midwest. We were in Minnesota last year, Wisconsin, Illinois, a lot of work in Indiana, Ohio. We're doing some work on some stuff in Toledo with a housing project. So we'll go all over, North Carolina here. But Michigan is our core.
Right.
And all over UP. We love Michigan.
And having all these satellite locations gives you that access to not only business development, but getting projects. Faces can be there quickly, and then you can dispatch a team to go handle something with it. Yeah.
And Michigan's a great state to be a consultant in because of the car capital of the world, the industry that came. And we have so many waterways, rivers, lakes, streams, watersheds that our environmental department, the state, is a little more conservative than others. So we have a little more work to do in Michigan as a consultant, which keeps us on our toes compared to other states.
Makes sense. All right. I want to give a nod to my friends at Wagner Financial. Whether you're just starting out planning for retirement or anywhere in between, Wagner is here to help you make smart financial decisions. They offer comprehensive, customized planning from investment strategies and tax solutions to insurance, accounting, and real estate planning. Wagner is dedicated to supporting you, your family, your business, and future. Their unique team approach, their team member specializations, all ensure that you will have someone who can have an answer to your question and is ready to help. Schedule a consultation by visiting wagner-financial.com or give them a call at 517-853-3367. So your role at Tri-Terra and just Tri-Terra, your employees, in my opinion, is not an obvious career choice. So what kind of disciplines do people have when they get hired by Tri-Terra? What accreditations, education, background?
And a quick shout out to Wagner. They do our finance 401k stuff.
Fantastic.
They do good work.
They do. I agree.
Yeah. So backgrounds, I went into geology.
Okay.
They called
makes
it
sense.
Rocks for Jocks back in the day at Hope College. But we have folks from biology, chemistry, fish and wildlife backgrounds, folks out of high school. You don't have to have a college degree to work at Tri-Terra. So, we're pretty open, GIS, geography.
Yep.
But probably the core is environmental science, environmental policy, geology. That's probably a lot of the, if you looked at our website and see their backgrounds, you probably see a good core there.
Right on.
You like the outdoors, you kind of wear North Face and, go outside.
Right on. Yeah. So your leadership team, I've gotten to know some of you personally, socially.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, how you operate as an organization and who your leadership team is, that kind of thing.
So we'll probably get to it. We're an EOS company. We follow the entrepreneurial operating system. So with that, we've developed a leadership team, and we have Hannah, our director of marketing. We have Craig Mullica, who does our business development, director of business development. We have Don in the finance world. We have myself as the chief culture officer. We have Garnet Johnson, director of operations, and Dave Van Haren on the economic development side of things. So that is a core we've identified, and we meet once a week. We can get it more on later, but we have a scorecard that we can see the pulse of the company. But yeah, that's the makeup of our team, and we're always thinking, what's it look like 5-10 years from now? Because we want to grow, but we also want to hand off the baton to the new generation.
Right. So, having that vision, and you've grown. I mean, and a lot of times entrepreneurs, if they hit right, they grow faster than they usually can keep up with. And then mistakes are made and stresses occur and problems happen, and you tarnish your brand, and then you learn the lesson and then try to rebuild.
Yeah.
And the EOS system is really more designed to kind of control what you can control and have the right people at the table and doing all of that. So, how do you talk about chief culture officer? How do you leverage culture to kind of attract and retain people?
It's sometimes hard when you're interviewing someone because they don't know what we're like yet. We're getting to know, and you might meet them 2, 3, 4 times. It's nice to have them, but we always say if we can, they can meet somebody else too and start asking other questions, what it's like to work at Tri-Terra. So that's a little more challenging, but the goal is once they get in to Tri-Terra, and of course, if they're coming out of high school or college and that's their first job, they have no idea how to compare our culture to what it's like at other firms.
Yeah.
Right? So all we're going to try to do is create the best environment for them. And that's just culture. I mean, you think of after COVID and things changed in the typical office life where, people went home. And I always think a culture is manifested in the office. So you have to really be careful. We're comfortable being hybrid if people once in a while want to work remote if they can, but the goal is to have them in the office, to be around each other, get to know each other. The other part of EOS that allows us to maintain our culture is we have every 90 days a company meeting where we go through we call it our vision tracking organizer, but it starts out with core values. And we do core value shout outs. Like someone says, hey, this last 90 days they did something that was very responsive. Responsiveness is a core value of ours. And it's a powerful thing to call out a staff member in front of the whole company. We also do quarterly conversations every 90 days. So we understand how everything's progressing. We don't want to wait till the end of the year. We want to talk every 90 days. We're in a 90-day world. And we reset every 90 days, but we also take time to talk to the employees and do we call it the quarterly conversation, the 5-5-5, 5 core values, how they're doing, 5 roles, and if they had goals or rocks that quarter, the rocks and how it went. If they're hitting the ceiling, why? How do we fix that before too late? Because if it's too late, they might be gone by then. So that's where companies can really lose high quality. Or you figure you hire someone for 5 years and you invest and mentor, and then they feel like they have nowhere to go, they're gone, right? They get recruited.
Yeah.
So I'm always wanting to say, hey, if you feel like you're hitting the ceiling, come talk to me, right? If you're feeling the Sunday blues, you're Sunday and I got to work Monday, come talk to me. Let's talk. We want you to, we also do a thing called delegate to elevate. And so you have these 4 quadrants, and over time, you start doing roles in a company, right? And you're doing something that we have them over time fill out this delegate to elevate. Stuff you don't like to do and you're not good at, whatever that could be. Stuff you don't like to do but you're good at. Stuff you like to do, you're good, but stuff that you love to do and you're great at doing it, right? If your group leader understands that, and they know someone else in the same groups has the stuff that person put that they don't like to do, but that person wrote that other person loves to do. Well, how about they delegate that to that person? So everyone, we call it the unique ability. If you can come to work and do something you love to do and you're great at, it's so powerful. And the productivity goes up. So those are little things we push, and I try to make sure they're being discussed with the group leader, the staff member. When you're first getting into consulting, you don't know yet what you don't like to do and what you think you love to do, but it takes time.
But every 90 days, you can check in, and as people mature and develop, they start identifying what their unique ability is and what they tend to avoid and procrastinate on. And maybe there's someone else who can kind of handle that. Excellent. All right. Well, we all need a place to call home, and Chris Silker of Keller Williams Advantage and Team offers the expertise that you're looking for. He's helped clients navigate the complicated world of real estate in mid-Michigan for over 10 years, providing the best information possible at the right time to empower the best decisions. Whether you're a first-time home buyer looking for a local expert to guide you from point A to point B, searching for an income property in the competitive Lansing market, right-sizing your life, or searching for your dream home, Chris Silker and the Advantage and Team is a name to trust in Greater Lansing real estate. Visit advantageandteam.com or call Chris Silker at 517-242-9251 today to find the home of your dreams. So you dove into a lot of jargon around the EOS system, but as I kind of listen to the different things, it doesn't seem like it is environmental consulting focused. It seems like those tools would fit pretty much any type of industry. So it's more of a macro kind of platform and series of tools and systems that help any growing company stay kind of stabilized. Is that fair to say, or is there?
Oh yeah, I feel like what I've learned with EOS, and someone would say, "Hey, JP, could you be the superintendent of the school system, or a principal, or a health in the hospital?"
Yeah,
I could take these same tools without knowing anything and slowly integrate it into that company, and it would be powerful. It would really be powerful. So if you're a small business or a larger business and you're considering, or you're having some struggles, or you feel like there's no structure, because before EOS, we were like this, Ryan Henry was our implementer with EOS, and he always referred to us, well, you guys had a lot of muscle, but you didn't have a skeletal system to hold your company up. And that really EOS provided us a vision, clarity, and effective communication throughout our company. And that was huge, especially before we really started growing, because we realized we were small. I joined, we were 4 of us, 52 now, but all of a sudden we started growing, and people were asking us, what's the process for this? I don't know. We just yell across the hall, hey, what are we doing? So we had to, oh boy, we gotta step up, because they're really looking at us leaders to provide guidance. And
I call it being successful on purpose.
There you go. There you go. So we tried here and there reading the book Traction.
Yep.
You really need to get an implementer, and we did 2 years. It's an investment, but it pays off. It's worth it.
Okay.
I should be getting something from EOS. Gino Wickman, he should be.
Got it. So listeners, I'm familiar with the EOS system, so I'm aware of kind of how it works, and I'm teeing you up to deliver some of that. But for those who don't know, like, how would a person listening say, okay, I feel the scramble, sounds like these guys have stabilized themselves using this system. How would you begin? What would your advice be to someone who's floundering out there that wants to learn more about EOS?
Yeah. Well, first thing is you can, I don't know if you go to we just knew someone who was doing it, which was Ryan, and he did a 90-minute session with us, and it was a free session. And after that, it's like, okay, you go through that, and there's they challenge you, and you really have to think, and then you realize after that, all right, let's do it. So you would typically meet quarterly with an implementer.
Okay.
And then you have a annual 2-day session at the end of the year with your implementer. So I would highly recommend making the investment in hiring an implementer. I've talked to other companies that are just started or are been into it a while, and for a while we were doing these probably quarterly calls with each other, where there could have been an architectural firm from Ohio and some different businesses, and we would go back and forth on what's working, what's not, and learning from other EOS companies. So that was fun. We need to start doing that again. Mike Maddox is a local implementer.
Yep. Okay.
There's Eric Perkins over in the Grand Blanc area. There's obviously Ryan Henry's here locally.
Yep.
I know other firms that have used others I've never heard of. So there's plenty of them out there.
Right on. So the entrepreneurial operating system, they could probably just go online, type in their geography, and find someone to help them get started.
Exactly. Or call me.
Right, there you go.
Call me and I'll say, hey, let's talk, and then maybe guide them a couple people.
And it seems like if you ask a couple of questions, you'll find people that are on the EOS system.
Yeah.
It's more prevalent than you may think.
Yep. There's some lingo we use. Oh, yeah, I sound like you're EOS. When you see like a visionary integrator on their website of a role, that's a EOS term. But it's fun to, if you're thinking about reach out to another EOS company to get their input before even talking to an implementer. That's powerful.
Got it. Yeah. So back to Tri-Terra and the services you provide. Is there any? Again, you're kind of behind the scenes. So all of a sudden there's a ribbon cutting on a really cool building or whatever, and you can internally say, we were working on that 18 months ago, and now we're here and proud partners in that. Are there any projects that people might know that you were, kind of behind the scenes on that they might be able to equate?
I mean, locally here in this region, we've been working on the Stadium North senior lofts and lofts just north of the ballpark.
Okay.
With a group called Pivotal out of Ohio, their housing development. So that was a fun project. A lot of cool environmental history there. Of course, we get excited when there's underground tanks and all that stuff. Nobody else does. But we managed to get a brownfield grant, $1 million grant to help pay for all the soil disposal, some of the demo of the old buildings. So it was a fun project to be involved with. And then now it's a 4-story apartment complex. We've been working on Temple Club in Old Town with Michigan Community Capital. It's a fun club. Our office is we used to be right next to it when we were in Old Town.
Okay.
So we've been in there. We've talked to many people, and finally to see that building back into use was great. What else? I think a New Vision. We've been involved in New Vision.
New Vision Land. That's the
big 24-story.
Really tall, taller than Bogey Tower.
Yeah. And then we've been involved, a lot of that was some of the asbestos work on some of the other sites they're looking at, and some other due diligence. The Mission across from Myers. We've been doing some due diligence on that, slowly acquiring that property.
Yep. I just had Pat Gillespie on a show recently, and he talked about his enthusiasm for that. So you're working on that building as the Mission exits.
Yes.
To kind of confirm the uses and the abilities
We've
for the
done
next
some
space.
overtime over there, so we know a little bit, because we have a pretty good archive of knowledge of a lot of these communities throughout, because all the phase ones we've done, we get aerial photographs, old topo maps. So a lot of times we can go look and right away tell somebody, hey, if you're looking at buying this, there's some potential risk. So start thinking, I don't want to surprise you. Hey, you got to spend $10,000. What?
Right.
I want to close tomorrow. Well, you could. So we have some information already on that, but that is going to be a good one, right down from lug nuts and the market, and then you got fixing that up area to more places to go.
That's awesome. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, you're doing fantastic work at Tri-Terra, and I love to hear the story about EOS and how that's really helped stabilize what could be a ship without a rudder. Knowing you folks like I do, you seem to be walking through the world a lot more confident than deer in the headlights a little bit. You were growing so fast and had such a great brand. Yeah. And I can really feel how much stabilizing this has brought to your team, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So how can people learn more about Tri-Terra and your services?
Yeah, well, we have a great marketing department, amazing market department.
I've heard that.
Yes,
good people over there.
We have a Hannah and a Hannah. Okay. They can help you with anything. Obviously, if you do Facebook or TikTok, I don't know if we do TikTok still. We do. We have a couple good videos from our younger folks that do that. LinkedIn, website. Go on our website. I love our website. We put everybody on our website.
That's awesome.
You look at some firms, they don't put the whole team, because I think that sometimes they're worried they're going to get recruited, and we don't care.
Ah, good point.
Come recruit our staff, because if they want to leave us and they're going to go work at your place, I guarantee they're not going to be able to match our culture, whether they come back. So I love it when a young employee comes in and says, hey, yeah, my mom and dad looked at the website and they were so excited to see me on that website, this new person out of school, and it's there's a picture.
Yep.
It says a lot. I love that.
That's awesome. And that's Tri-Terra.us.
Yes.
For those listening at home.
Yes.
And search Tri-Terra on all the social platforms and you'll find them. Tri-Terra is not a common name, so I think it'll find them pretty quickly.
Yeah, we love Halloween, so we got Halloween coming up. So you'll be seeing some good costumes this year, hopefully.
Fantastic. Are you going to be a big rock?
Maybe granite. I don't know.
That would be good.
Yeah,
don't take it for granted.
That's right. Yes.
Excellent. We've been talking to the Chief Culture Officer of Tri-Terra here in mid-Michigan, but serving all of Michigan and beyond, Mr. J.P. Buckingham. Really appreciate the conversation here today. So happy to see the success you and your team are having. And I welcome you back as you have new projects that you want to share.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing what you do.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah.
And I'd love to give a final shout out to all of our loyal sponsors. We've got Wagoner Financial, Good Marketing, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, Kirk Byron State Farm, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. All are fantastic people worth the call. And if you found the show as a one-off, I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagine on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere you find your podcasts. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.